Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is April 29th, 2022. And today is Friday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, Microsoft and Facebook lift the markets back to life. But first, looking at the major economic events of the day at 2:30 South African time out of the United States, we have core price index number coming out. Very important major number. Now, major U.S. companies releasing quarterly earnings today, including ExxonMobile and Chevron. Now, as we look at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, the euro and the GBP, British pound, continue to slide. We're looking at the indices. The Dow Jones does bounce, but the NASDAQ does not. That's a red flag. Now, looking at commodities, gold and oil gain slightly. Stocks, Microsoft and Facebook bounce nicely. But the question is, can they sustain it? And lastly, Bitcoin unchanged. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're taking a look here at the Euro USD at a 4-hour chart, and you can see we're finding a soft landing. 104.88 is where we're at. We're trading at 105.36, about 50 pips above this little retracement. Now, I would anticipate we would bounce all the way to 106. And the reason I say that is because usually when you have such an extreme sell-off, you usually have a 50% retracement. So keep that in mind. That does happen. Let's look at a weekly. That's not what I want. I want to do that. That's exactly what I want. Let's look at a monthly. I mean, we're there. We're still at support, okay? So as long as it sustains this 104, it's not going to go lower. GBP USD still has some way to go, but it did bounce yesterday from 124.39. We're looking at a weekly chart. Let's look at a 4-hour chart. 125.19 is where it's at, but looking at that weekly chart, it's at congestion area. Okay, we did think that 125.75 was going to be a support, but it broke that, okay, and used this 124-ish level. Now, really, I would have thought it would go down to 123. It didn't. Okay, so it's right there. I'm not saying that this is not going to continue selling off. Okay, it's sold off quite aggressively, and if you look at the aggressive volume, I mean, this is all the way up here, and most of this stuff is down here. Okay, you can see the parity of all that volume that is being sold and bought throughout this time period. So keep that in mind, as this is also integrating itself to a new life. Now, looking at gold, trading at 1908. Okay, excuse me, 1908, bouncing above that 1887-ish level, 1870-ish level. So that is a big deal for gold. If you're looking at a 1-hour chart, 4-hour chart, 1908, we should be retracing back to the 1930-ish level. Okay, that's where my target price would be, somewhere in between this 1995 and 1800-ish level. So it should be about, I would say, 1935, 1940-ish level. That's where it should get up to. That's my anticipation. Now, looking at oil, it's trading at 105 right now. Okay, and a 4-hour chart, it's at the top of the range. It's still not doing anything different than we're expecting it, meaning it's trading between a range between 105 and 97. Now, looking at the Dow Jones aggressively bouncing yesterday to 33,880. So it did clear that after it hitting 33,100 this past week, even hitting 33,000 at one point. So the fluctuation is there, okay? The direction is still there, okay? Even though if you look at the NASDAQ, did not bounce at all. At all. I mean, this is like a dead cat bounce. 1290 to 13,300 is almost nothing, okay? So keep that in mind, as this may still continue to sell off. Now, looking at Apple, did bounce yesterday to 1633. Facebook bounced and a big gap up. If you look at that, 205. All right, let's look at a 30-minute chart to give us perspective here. It went all the way from 174 up to 208, and then selling off a bit, and then somewhere hitting that 208 again. The question is, will it sustain itself? Well, will it see this as a resistance-ish level? Now, looking at Microsoft, did get some headwind on the upside here. If you look at a 4-hour chart, it did gain to 289, but still below that $300 mark, which is really an important mark for us. But for now, we do have a low of 271, so that's good in terms of our low. Looking at Tesla, still a little bit choppy here around this area. And JP Morgan continues to be on its lows of the year, at 123. Okay, just shy of that 121-ish level. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, nothing doing. All right, it's really very, 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 very dry here. I mean, we've been between these two levels for I don't know how long. Okay, it's been quite a while. Since April 11th, we've been somewhat in this little range, and it hasn't really given us tremendous trading opportunities. Okay, buying the bottom of the range, but it's like picking bottoms almost, because it's not a perfect bottom here at 37,000. Okay, so it's somewhere in between here right now, between the Fibonacci retracement and the red line. We're trading smack in the middle of that, so there's no real anything that's jumping out of me right now. But I do anticipate later today that we're going to have a lot of activity in the markets because of this core price index number that's coming out. We'll see you here. Thank you. God bless. Have a good weekend, guys. Bye-bye.